About-Out&About TV. Travel, adventure, and RVs. Join Sharon and Tom each week as they travel America in a 30-foot trailer exploring and living the RV lifestyle. From trip and product reviews to RV show reports and an unfiltered look at life on the road. This is the show for you. Welcome.
Aloha! Good to have you with us. Thanks so much for coming by. I'm Tom McAuliffe on behalf of Sharon and myself. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And we got another great show for you this week. As I record this, it is the latter part of June, and things are heating up. The campgrounds are filling up. The temperatures, we've had an early heat wave, and we've also had like our first tropical disturbance down near Texas. So it's going to be an active storm season, and we're going to be covering RVs and bad weather. How do you deal with weather hazards? You know, we're going to go over weather radios, how to read a weather map, and lots more. So that's coming up in about 2 weeks. We're going to talk about beach camping, near and dear to my heart. Sometimes people say that instead of buying a waterfront condo or a home, if you can afford that, people buy an RV and you camp down at places like Grayton Beach and Henderson Beach, or out on Nags Head by Hatteras, or up by Lake Superior or Lake Michigan, or wherever. There's something about camping right by the water, and in particular, being able to hear the waves at night, that is truly, truly special. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Also, we're going to talk about how to get a good campsite. It's competitive. And there are some new private campsite reservation services that we'll talk about, as well as navigating the state park system in whatever state you happen to live in. Yeah. So we're going to talk about campsite reservation tips, and one of my favorite channels, I'm not sure why, but this guy is just down home. Nomadic Fanatic. He's a nomad and he's a fanatic. And he's got a lot of great down home information. You know, how do you change your wheel bearings? Boom. Watch this video. So, and then coming up, we're going to take a trip down to Gulf Shores. We were down there recently, and we're going to talk about national parks and state parks and pollution. We're loving these parks to death. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And coming up later on, we also have a trip to Yellowstone. And if you want to see the library, the list of all the shows that we've had, and our plan up to show 50, you can go to the Facebook page, just search Out and About TV, boom, boom, boom. And you can go to the website. We've got a new website. Notice that we added RV to the name. We've had this name since 1978 when we had a cable show. We discovered that there are several sites now that have tried to adopt the name or are adopting the name, and we're asking them to differentiate their sites a little bit. So we'd naturally love to hear from you and see what's on your mind and what ideas you have for the show. And just send us an email right there. And when you do, you'll automatically enter to win a handy, dandy, dapper Out and About t-shirt or a handy ball cap. So do that. Here's the email address right there. Also, we are an Amazon affiliate, and we have, you'll see in the show description, different links to different products that we use and mention. And if you can buy through there, that really helps us out a lot, and doesn't cost you anything more. So that's kind of cool. So buckle up. We got a lot to get to. Thanks a lot for coming by, and away we go.
At Out&About TV, we've done the legwork for you, watching, analysing and curating the top RV YouTube channels that cover everything from trailers and fifth wheels to vans and mobile homes. These RV YouTubers have turned their passion into full-time careers, influencing the RV community and even shaping industry trends. Channels that entertain, educate, and inspire with hosts that have the heart of a teacher. Stop by and we will examine what these channels are covering. And it is more than just entertainment. Just consider Out&About your personal digital campfire. For all things RV.
This week's channel spotlight shines on one of the most recognizable personalities in the RV YouTube community, Eric Jacobs and his channel, Nomadic Fanatic. Eric was one of the pioneers of full-time RV content creation. Long before RV YouTube became crowded with creators, sponsorships, and polished productions, Eric was documenting life on the road and sharing both the highs and the lows of full-time travel. What makes Nomadic Fanatic unique is Eric's willingness to share his life fully, openly, and honestly. Viewers have followed his adventures across the country, his RV upgrades, campground experiences, vehicle changes, personal struggles, disappointments, and triumphs. Rather than presenting a perfect picture of RV life, Eric often shares the hard realities that many travelers face. His channel also features campground reviews, destination reports, RV tours, equipment upgrades, travel adventures, and day-to-day life on the road. Over the years, he has built a loyal audience that appreciates his straightforward style and realness. Whether he's exploring a national park, reviewing a new RV, or simply sharing life from a campsite somewhere in America, Eric continues to inspire thousands of viewers who dream of hitting the road and embracing a more adventurous lifestyle someday. For RV enthusiasts, Nomadic Fanatic remains one of the most influential and enduring channels in the RV travel community. His journey demonstrates that sometimes the greatest adventure isn't reaching a destination. It's simply living life openly, 1 mile at a time. For Out&About TV, I'm Hope, wishing you safe travels. See you next week.
Hey, every week, tune in. We're going to keep cataloging the best in RV channels on YouTube and tell you what they're all about and save you a little bit of time there. Thanks a lot for tuning in. In this week's feature, let's go down to the beach. It's my favorite place. Yours too? You know, there's something about the beach, but in particular, when you're RVing and if you've ever camped on the beach or within earshot of the waves, nothing like it. For many RVers, beach camping is the ultimate dream. There's just something magical about waking up to a sunrise over the ocean and stepping outside with a cup of coffee and watching the waves roll ashore. The smell of the salt air, the sound of the gulls overhead, and the constant rhythm of the surf create an atmosphere that's hard to match anywhere else. Maybe that's why it's so difficult to get a waterfront site. And understand that we differentiate between waterfront and oceanfront. Yeah. There are a lot of great lakefront sites and state parks, COE campgrounds, Corps of Engineers campgrounds, BLM land, and river sites like this one right here. And unfortunately, true beachfront camping is becoming increasingly rare. Many RV parks advertise themselves as waterfront when they're really just located near a lake, a river, the ocean, provides access to those wonderful features, but they're not. You don't look out your window and see the water. Some places you do. One fabulous place that we're going to talk about is it's just called the Gulf in Destin, and you can park right on the sand. The sand is hard packed, so you can do that. So there's different kinds of waterfront, right? And while those locations can be beautiful, they ain't quite the same as parking your rig on the sand within the sight and sound of the ocean. There's a big difference between waterfront camping and beachfront camping. Waterfront sites might overlook a lake, a river, or a bay. Beachfront sites place you directly adjacent to the ocean or Gulf. That's where the surf becomes part of your camping experience. Probably psychologically, makes for a wonderful coastal experience. And as coastal real estate prices increase and continue to skyrocket, many former campgrounds are now being turned into condos. Yet there's still some incredible beachfront. We're going to talk about waterfront too, but let's just talk about oceanfront. Yeah. Beachfront sites that still exist. I've stayed all over the place. Michigan, of course, extensively. California, Julia Pfeiffer State Park is one of the jewels on the planet. Virginia Beach, Jacksonville. But here are what I think. I tried to look around the entire country, all of my experiences, and come up with 10 outstanding waterfront and beachfront campgrounds that you might consider for a future trip. And of course, these are in no order. Number 1, Huntington Island State Park in South Carolina. Wow. It's one of the East Coast's best kept secrets. Miles and miles of undeveloped beach, a historic lighthouse, and campsites just steps from the Atlantic Ocean. Huntington Island State Park in beautiful South Carolina. Number 2, First Landing State Park in Virginia. Virginia is for lovers. Located where English settlers first landed back in 1607. Beautiful campsites near the Chesapeake Bay and the Atlantic shoreline make First Landing State Park in Virginia on the list. Number 3, let's go down to Texas. Padre Island National Seashore. It's huge. Over 60 miles of protected Gulf shore coastline. It's a paradise for beach lovers, bird watchers, boondockers, fishermen, fisherwomen. Yeah, Padre Island National Seashore down in South Texas. Then let's take a trip also while we're down there to Mustang Island State Park in Texas. It's one of the few places where you can camp close enough to hear the Gulf surf all night long. Mustang Island State Park and Padre Island National Seashore down there in Texas. Let's take a trip out to Cali, California, Wrights Beach Campground. This is dramatic Pacific coastline like no other. Huge cliffs, panoramic Pacific Ocean views, and some of the most spectacular sunsets you'll ever see. Moving forward, and these are the top 10 waterfront or oceanfront campsites, campgrounds in America, according to yours truly. Out in Oregon, as long as we're on the West Coast, up from California, we're in Oregon now. How about South Beach State Park? No, this is not South Florida. This is in Oregon. It's a rugged Pacific Northwest camping experience, crashing surf and endless sandy, more rocky than sandy, beaches. The South Beach State Park in Oregon, in southern Oregon coast, is truly something special. While we're there in Oregon, number 7, Harris Beach State Park. Got spectacular sea stacks and tide pools. I love looking in tide pools and seeing little starfish and stuff. Great ocean views that make this one of Oregon's premier coastal campgrounds. Harris Beach State Park and South Beach State Park, both in Oregon. Well, let's take a trip to my home state of Michigan, talk about different kinds. You know, when some people see the Great Lakes, wow, we didn't know we had inland ocean. Yeah. Number 8, Straits State Park in Michigan, located on Lake Huron near the Mackinac Bridge. The views are incredible and the water stretches to the horizon like an inland sea, because it is an inland sea. Number 8, Straits State Park in Michigan. It's the only place in the world where you can say, okay, we're over here. Number 9, Tequamanon Falls State Park in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. I'm going to mispronounce this, and I'm from Michigan. Muscalone almost sounds Italian. It's up past Higgins Lake, yeah, in the center part right there. Yeah, right there. That's actually wrong. It's by Lake Superior. No wonder I couldn't pronounce it. All those up youpers. You damn youper. It's situated between Lake Superior and Muscalone Lake. It's an Indian name. It's about that long. Offering some of the finest waterfront camping in the Great Lakes region, I'm told. Never been there, but it's up by, now that I think about it, it's up by Grand Marais, kind of east of Copper Harbor and the peninsula there. Yeah. So check that out in the UP. So there you go. 10 otherwise maybe not considered or known beachfront, waterfront camping ideas for your aquatic adventure in the near future. Now, that's not to say that beach camping doesn't have challenges. It does. Sand gets in everything. There's a lot of moisture. And as wonderful as beach and waterfront camping may be, it does present some significant challenges. Coastal ecosystems are fragile. That's the first thing. Sand dunes protect inland areas from erosion and from storms. There's also sea turtle nesting grounds. I bring that up because don't let the dogs and the kids run up on the dunes and stuff all over, mess with the sea oats. That's an important part of this whole system, and they've got to be preserved. Salt air accelerates corrosion of RVs, no doubt about that. And hurricanes, they're just a part of life down here. I've been through 5 of them, and was in Hurricane Frederick in the 70s. Couldn't come outside for 4 days. Yeah. It's something to think about. And you'll see on I-75 or I-95, wherever, I-10, you'll see lines of RVs when people evacuate. So it's super important, by the way, now that we are in hurricane season, which goes from June to November, that you have a life straw. This part of Out and About TV brought to you by Life Straw. No, but I'm a big believer in life straws. Allow you to drink from basically any water source. And every member of the family should have one. They're like $10 or $15, something like that. But think about that. Salt air, get a good wax job on the old RV before you come camping down here on the seashore. Campground managers walk a delicate balancing act. They must protect the natural environment while still allowing visitors to enjoy these remarkable oceanfront locations. So tread lightly. Why we keep going back? Well, that's easy. Despite the challenges, beachfront camping continues to hold a special place in the hearts of most RVers, including Tom and Sharon. We have camped beside the ocean many, many times over the years, and there's something almost therapeutic about it. You can spend thousands of dollars on sound machines that imitate ocean waves, but nothing compares to the real thing. Falling asleep to the surf and waking up to a sunrise over the water reminds you why you bought an RV in the first place. Cheap waterfront residence. Sometimes the best campsite isn't one with the biggest resort pool or the fanciest clubhouse or the most amenities. But the sad reality is that true beachfront RV camping is becoming an endangered species. Every year, another campground seems to become a condominium or a resort or a private development. That's why when you find one of these special places, whether it's on the coast or the Gulf of Mexico, the Atlantic, the Pacific, or one of the Great Lakes, you owe it to yourself to spend a few nights there, because some experiences simply cannot be duplicated. You can buy a bigger television, you can buy a fancier RV, but you can't buy the feeling of falling asleep with the windows open and the sound of the waves rolling ashore all night long. I'm Tom for Out and About TV. We'll see you out there. In this week's product review, we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of a product, well, we're really I guess we are talking about a product. And the product is campgrounds, campground reservations, how to get a great site and getting the site you really want. One of the biggest changes in RV travel over the past decade has been the rise of online campground reservation systems. They are a blessing and a curse. Gone are the days when travelers could simply roll into a campground and expect to find an empty site waiting. Or I remember when you used to have to call the 1-800 number and wait sometimes upward of an hour or more on hold. But today's RVers rely heavily on the online reservation platforms. Here are just a few, and we'll have these in the show notes as well, the links. Recreation.gov is a big one. It's for our national parks and federal parklands. Recreation.gov. Now, there's a site called Reserve America. It's used by a lot of different states for their state campground systems. And check out Reserve America. Then, of course, there's always Campendium. They got great campground research, reviews. Yeah, it's a whole platform and ecosystem, Campendium. The Dirt, another site with great reviews and can actually get reservations through there now. There's also RV Life Campgrounds for campground ratings and trip planning and campground critiques. And then don't forget KOA Campgrounds. They've got a great website, and you can make reservations for all of their private parks nationally right there at koacampgrounds.com. So how do you get a good site? Sometimes it takes a while. Sometimes you got to put a little reminder in there so that the system will let you know when that site or a similar site will become available. But here are, I love top 10 lists, Tommy's top 10. Here are Tom's top 10 tips for getting a better campsite or one at all. Number 1, book as early as possible, 6 months or more. Yeah. Now that's hard for a lot of people. Hell, I don't know where I'm going to be next week. But you have to set aside the time. And I'm a big believer in setting your calendar up throughout the year and setting aside time for you, setting aside time for your family, setting aside time for your significant other. But book as early as possible. Number 2, know when the reservation window opens and be there when it does. Usually it's about 7 a.m. It's a tough one, but you got to want it. Number 3, consider traveling midweek when possible. Campgrounds are much less crowded Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, around in there. Number 4, avoid holiday weekends. Number 5, study campground maps before booking. There are several sites, and we're going to list them in the show description or at the bottom of the screen. Several sites that offer campground reviews. And there's one in particular, golly, I wish I could remember it right now, but it's basically just videos. Somebody went on a bicycle or a golf cart and filmed all of the different sites, and you can stop the video and see exactly your site. That's pretty cool. So study your campground maps before you book. Number 6, look for end sites. Look for sites that are pull-through, easier. And usually you get a larger site that way. Read the recent reviews. Check for any site length restrictions. If you've got a bigger rig, if you're up there at 40 feet, you need to check that. Number 9, set cancellation alerts for sold out parks. That's that reminder feature I was talking about. And number 10, have backup parks in mind. Consider booking 2 sites and canceling one site 2 or 3 weeks out as your plans firm up. Some people don't like that, but you got to do what you got to do. The difference between a great camping experience and a disappointing one sometimes comes down to the camping site. A little planning can mean the difference between staring at your neighbor's sewer line all weekend or enjoying a spectacular waterfront sunset. May the odds ever be in your favor. Quick remembrance. It's funny how later in life you have these memories that come up. We were camping at St. Andrews, and next to us was a brand new rig and a brand new rig owner. And I was sitting out there late in the evening, and I smelled something pretty rotten, and they had gray water, black water, I don't know, but it was probably black water, right out onto the lawn. And what was flabbergasting to me about it is the sewer connection is right there. It's painted yellow. There's a big thing which you put your foot on. You put your foot, God must love stupid people because he made so many of them. I'm Tom for Out and About TV. In keeping with our beach theme this week, our trip report, I love these two places. St. Andrews State Park in Panama City Beach, Florida, the Panhandle, and St. George Island, a little known island 4 miles out into the Gulf. We're going to talk about it. Florida's Gulf Coast is home to some of the most beautiful beaches in America. Two destinations that deserve a spot on every RVer's bucket list are St. Andrews State Park and St. George Island, both in the Emerald Coast near Panama City. Just east of Panama City Beach, St. Andrews State Park offers 1,200 acres of pristine coastal wilderness. Visitors can enjoy walking on sugar white sands, crystal clear Gulf water, excellent fishing, snorkeling, kayaking, and wildlife viewing. I was sitting out there the other morning when we were camping there. Deer came like between here and the water, between here and the river, 3 of them. Yeah. It's one of the most popular in Florida, so you got to get reservations early. But the sites are spacious. They're tucked among pine trees and native vegetation. And from your campsite, it's just a short walk or bike ride to the beach. They recently underwent a multi-million-dollar refit and put in a bunch of more sites and new pedestals, and spruced up the bathhouses. It's a high-quality campground. They take great care of the campers there. They rake the gravel between arrivals. That's how much they care. Now, as popular as St. Andrews is among locals, this place is, a little farther east, you're going to find St. George Island, often described as Florida's forgotten paradise. 4 miles out in the Gulf, unlike many crowded beach destinations, St. George Island remains remarkably undeveloped. Let's keep it that way. There's miles and miles of uncrowded shoreline stretch along the Gulf of Mexico, offering spectacular sunsets and some of the best shelling on the Gulf Coast. And at night, oh my God, you don't need a telescope. There's no light pollution there. So it is truly, truly spectacular. And the island's relaxed atmosphere makes it perfect for RVers. If you're looking to escape the crowds and get back to coastal nature, this is the place. Fishing, paddleboarding, kayaking, beachcombing, just a few of my favorite activities. And the night skies, as I said, absolutely incredible. I think we have a picture, that I took. Whether you're exploring the natural beauty of St. Andrews State Park or enjoying the laid-back charm of St. George Island, maybe checking out the beautiful, beautiful lighthouse they have. One of the best, that and Pensacola Barrancas, two of the best lighthouses on the Gulf Coast. But you'll know why RVers return to this forgotten coast year after year after year. St. George Island is one of Florida's largest barrier islands, stretching approximately 28 miles long, but only about a mile and a half wide at any given point. The island runs parallel to Florida's forgotten coast and is known for its uncrowded beaches, lack of high-rise development, and laid-back old Florida atmosphere. Love the bridge going over, too. Getting there is part of the adventure. Visitors reach the island from the mainland community of East Point by crossing the impressive Bryant Patton Memorial Bridge, better known simply as the St. George Island Bridge. The bridge spans approximately 4 miles across Apalachicola Bay, making it one of the longest bridges in Florida. And as you make the crossing, you'll enjoy sweeping views of the bay, oyster beds, fishing boats, and the Gulf waters. Many visitors say that the vacation really begins the moment they hit the bridge. Although St. George Island feels wonderfully remote, it's actually surprisingly accessible. The island is only about 4 miles from the mainland across the bay, and boom, you're there. But it's like traveling back 100 years to a time of quieter, older Florida. There are no traffic lights, no towering condominiums, no crowded commercial strips, just miles of sugar white sand beaches, sea oats swaying in the breeze, and some of the most beautiful sunsets and sunrises on the Gulf Coast. I just had a thought. There is one little store that has a bakery attached to it. And we got some of the most delicious croissants I've ever had in that little store in the back. So check that out. It's right there as you come off the bridge. You're coming into the little kind of village there. So on the left side, it's painted blue. Excuse me. Or at least it was the last time I was there. But you'll love this place. No traffic lights, no commercial, no McDonald's, just sea oats swaying gently in the breeze, and make it a point. One of the things that makes St. George Island so special is its sense of scale. 28 miles of shoreline means that there's plenty of rooms to spread out, even during peak season. It's often possible to find stretches of beach with nobody else around. Your only companions might be some shorebirds, some shore deer, or maybe some dolphins out in the water. Dolphins frequent the area. You'll hear that sound, those rolling waves. Psh, psh. For RVers and beach lovers looking to escape the crowds, that's becoming a very rare quantity. Check out St. George. How do you get reservations? Well, first, let's talk about St. Andrews State Park. If you're planning to visit St. Andrews, don't wait until the last minute, although once in a while, you might get lucky. We did. There's a cancellation, boom, go in and grab it. It's one of Florida's most popular state parks and waterfront destinations. It can be booked up months and months in advance, 6 months, 7, 8, 9, up to 11 months. These waterfront destinations can be booked up months and months in advance, especially during the winter snowbird season and around the holidays. Reservations are made through the Florida State Park reservation system, which has improved in the last couple of years. They underwent a site redevelopment and optimization, and reservations are made through the system, and savvy RVers often book as soon as the reservation window opens, which I believe is 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Midweek stays generally offer better availability than weekends, and being flexible with your travel dates can dramatically improve your chances of landing a great campsite. If the park appears sold out, don't give up. Cancellations happen every day, all day, and persistent campers are often rewarded with last-minute openings. Now, St. George Island, a little bit tougher nut to crack and a slightly different challenge. While there are campgrounds in the area, many visitors choose to rent beachfront cottages or stay at nearby campgrounds on the mainland and make day trips to the island. I don't like that. I prefer to stay in the state park right there on the island. You're right in the thick of it. And at night, yeah. During spring break, though, summer and holiday periods, accommodations can disappear like that. The key is planning ahead and booking early. Many experienced Gulf Coast travelers begin making reservations 7-8 months in advance for prime dates. If you're flexible, consider visiting during the shoulder seasons of spring and fall when temperatures are pleasant, crowds are smaller, and availability is much better. One of my all-time favorite locations is the St. George Island Lighthouse. Standing proudly near the center of the island, the St. George Island Lighthouse is one of the area's most recognizable landmarks. The original lighthouse was built in 1852 to help guide ships safely through the often treacherous waters of Apalachicola Bay and the Gulf of Mexico. After years of battling storms, erosion, and hurricanes, the original structure eventually collapsed into the Gulf in 2005. Fortunately, a dedicated group of local residents banded together and carefully salvaged thousands of bricks from the fallen tower, and they rebuilt the lighthouse near its original location. I think that's absolutely amazing. Today, visitors can climb the lighthouse for spectacular panoramic views of the island, the Gulf of Mexico, and Apalachicola Bay. The Lighthouse Museum tells the fascinating story of maritime navigation along Florida's forgotten coast and serves as a reminder of the determination and resilience of the local maritime community. For many visitors, climbing to the top of the lighthouse just before sunset has become a St. George Island tradition. From the observation deck, you'll enjoy one of the finest views of Florida's Gulf Coast as the sun sinks slowly below the horizon and paints the sky in shades of gold, orange, and crimson. It's the perfect ending to a day spent exploring one of Florida's most beautiful barrier islands, St. George Island in Northwest Florida. I want to thank you so much for coming by as we explore this experiment here at Out and About TV, travel, adventure, and RVs. On behalf of Sharon and myself, we really appreciate your support. Send us an email and enter to win a Out and About t-shirt or ball cap. And may the odds ever be in your favor. And let us know what you'd like to see on the show. We're trying to be something a little bit different. Consider us your RV Tonight Show. And but we'd like to hear from you. So send us an email and also check out our brand new website, We just put that up about maybe 3 weeks ago, and people are coming by. And our Facebook page. I'm so proud of the Facebook page where people coming together. Not a whole lot, but it'll come. It's a platform there available for you, and people can come and help each other out. And I'm there a lot, so make it a point to come by and check out the Facebook page as well as the website. Yeah. And we'll see you next Saturday at noon. Make it a point to come on by. We're going to discuss, what are we discussing next week? Oh, we're going to talk about campsite pollution and how we're loving our national and state park systems into oblivion, and what we can do, each one of us, to help cut down on the pollution and the trash at our park sites around the country. Thanks again for coming by. We appreciate it. We'll see you next Saturday at noon, and we'll see you out and about.
House.